Welcome, friends. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Today, we honor and celebrate the extraordinary life of Anne Maguire. A very special welcome to Anne's family, who so generously shared her with the world. Welcome to her beloved wife, Harriet, to daughters Jennifer and her husband Steve, Allison and her husband Ed, and to the grands, Ben, Lizzie, Jack, and Julia. Of all that she loved you the best. Harriet asked me to be sure to thank Kim Cromwell and Kath Cote, all of her friends who helped create this beautiful celebration. Thank you too to Arlington Street staff and our ushers, tech team, musicians. Harriet, for you and Anne, we would do anything. Today we'll hear remembrances of Anne, we'll sing and listen to some of her favorite music, and Harriet says Anne would want us to clap and dance. So we are going to be closing out the service with a dance party. I'll see you in the aisles. Following the service, if you cross the street into the public garden, you might like to go see Anne's tree. Stay on the sidewalk that runs parallel to Arlington Street, and you'll find Anne's tree on a rounded corner. I will be delivering today's beautiful pulpit flowers to Rosie's place, where Anne and Harriet met. At 3 o'clock next Sunday, June 9th, the celebration of Anne's life continues. Helping Our Women invites us to join in the opening of the Anne Maguire Women's Wellness Center in Eastham on Cape Cod. And finally, Harriet has so generously asked that your memorial contributions be given to the Anne Maguire Fund, which has been established here at Arlington Street Church. We are in the midst of a $20 million restoration of this 163-year-old building. You will be proud to know that in recognition of our place in queer history, the National Park Service has just awarded us $750,000. Ways to give are highlighted in the blue box in your order of service. Kim will drop the link to give into the Zoom chat, and there are baskets at the great doors. There should be a postcard in your pew. You are very welcome to join us again next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for our Pride celebration. And if you'd like to march with us in the festival, the parade, we'd love to have you. All are welcome. Thank you for honoring Anne's legacy of activism with your generosity. And again, thank you for being here today. Kip and Anne are going to light the candelabra now, symbolizing the ways Anne's light is passed to each of us. This is Provincetown poet Stanley Kunitz, The Long Boat. When her boat snapped loose from its mooring under the squeaking of the gulls, she tried at first to wave to her dear ones on shore, but in the rolling fog, they had already lost their faces. Too tired even to choose between jumping and calling, somehow she felt absolved and free of her burdens, those mottos stamped on her name tag, conscience, ambition, and all that caring. She was content to lie down with the family ghosts in the slop of her cradle, buffeted by the storm, endlessly drifting. Peace, peace, to be rocked by the infinite, as if it didn't matter which way was home, as if she didn't know she loved the earth so much, she wanted to stay forever. Thank you, Kip. Thank you, Anne. May Anne's life burn brightly in all of us whose lives she touched. I'm going to invite all of you now to join me in the responsive reading written by Rabbi Roland B. Gittleson, a World War II Marine chaplain. It's printed in the order of service. It's in the Zoom chat. I'm going to read the Roman type. If you will please respond with, "We remember her." in the rising of the sun and in its going down, in the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, in the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, in the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, in the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, in the beginning of the year and when it ends, when we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we yearn to share. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Harvey. Good afternoon. To Reverend Harvey and the clergy, the wonderful people here at this church, Congressman Frank, I see many current and former elected officials here, Judge Hinkle, family, friends, colleagues, all who knew and loved Anne. Above all, of course, Harriet, and particularly as we're coming off of last month and our celebration of marriage equality here in Massachusetts. I just think that the 4 decades of your life, what it represented, is beautiful to witness, and a statement about really what love at the heart of all that marriage equality movement was about. And Harriet, I know that you both shared a deep commitment to your family, and that was clear when I know Anne moved from your beloved Provincetown to Marblehead to be near the grandkids. That says it all. So we're here today to celebrate, truly to celebrate and clap and dance, a person of great importance, tremendous importance, whose impact is hard to adequately put into words. Anne Maguire, she changed and did so much for so many, changing culture, changing institutions, creating institutions, making policy, changing policy, always working to make her community, her state, her country better. So I'm here today, like so many of you, as someone who owes a great deal to Anne Maguire. I owed a great deal to Anne Maguire long before I ever met Anne Maguire. I just didn't know it. And I'm here, like you, to celebrate a friend and to celebrate an icon. Anne was both to all of us. I first met Anne back in 2013. I was working in the Attorney General's office and thought about running for Attorney General. One of the people I reached out to was Tom Menino. And I sat with Tom Menino, who knows a thing or two about politics. And the one instruction he gave, the one person he told me, Tom Menino, to reach out to was Anne Maguire. So I got in my car and I made my way to Provincetown, And I think we were in the offices of the Banner. She had me in. It kind of seemed like she owned and operated and ran the whole deal. I don't know that she did, but Anne rolled that way. She didn't try to give that vibe, but it's just her presence. And I remember a few things about that meeting. First of all, her kindness, her warmth. She didn't know me. And here I was before her, a young kid then, looking to run for office. And, you know, she humored me, and she humored me in a way that felt really good, because Anne could make you feel really good. And she spoke to me in a soft voice, always, with such humility. And behind that, you could see she was a person, as Tom Menino knew, who knew how to get it done, having been his campaign manager for his winning mayoral campaign. I also remember the twinkle in Anne's eye. She just had that smile, and she had that twinkle always in those bright, beautiful eyes. And she shared with me all sorts of stories that I am not going to share now. But needless to say, she left me pumped up and excited about a run for office. Because when Anne backed you, she brought not only her experience and her influence, she brought her whole heart. And you felt like you couldn't lose. Now, we got through that race, and whenever I'd get back to Provincetown, I always wanted to make a point of seeing her, having the joy, the experience, selfishly, of wanting to be in Anne's presence, if only for a few moments. I remember sometimes it was just for a few moments. I was coming in hot, off the ferry, stifling day, happy to be in Provincetown, going to the Glad Summer Party, but also knowing my hair was a wreck. I needed to deal. I called my sister Caitlin, was with me. We made a quick stop, the West End Salon, popped in to see Dougie. He hooked me up with some spray or some such thing. And we're coming down the street, and we stopped off to pick up Anne, because I wanted her to see that, like, yeah, I got elected, and now they drive me around in this big black car, and come on in, this is cool, Anne. So she's such a good sport. She hopped in the back of the car, the front of the car, we put her in the front seat. It was awesome, because then she told the state police driver where to go and exactly the wrong way down this way, and this is how you get up. We made our way up the monument, and a great party. There's so many Anne moments, experiences like that. Anne was a trailblazer, but she was so much more than a trailblazer, because she didn't just go first. She brought the rest of us along with her. She brought people together. No one lifted others up like Anne did. No one opened doors like Anne did. No one created space like Anne did. Particularly, and the Rosie's Place story is beautiful and so emblematic of who Anne and, of course, Harriet are. Especially opening space for those who have been marginalized, who are marginalized, who are vulnerable, been shut out or hurt or silenced, especially those for simply being who they were. And Anne would welcome them with open arms and invite and inspire them and nurture them to be who they were meant to be. I mean, from the bars she ran in Provincetown, I'm sorry I'm too young to have experienced some of that. I was a later beneficiary of a lot of that. I appreciate it and had a good time at many a women's weekend. To her radio show. Don't you think about the radio show right now? The lifeline, the literal lifeline that Anne Maguire provided in a day and age It's terrifying for so many. From Fenway Help to helping our women, the Resource Center on the Cape, amazing. Her leadership, we all know about her leadership both at the Massachusetts Lesbian and Gay Political Caucus, to the Boston Lesbian and Gay Political Alliance, both of which she helped found. Her leadership, of course, in City Hall, where she was the first liaison to the LGBTQ community, Chief of Health and Human Services, and that amazing political campaign operative. To the State House, she managed, of course, the campaign for Elaine Noble, the first out gay person elected to a state-level office in the entire United States of America. It was Anne Maguire, 1974. She made so much of our progress possible. She made a difference everywhere she went and in everything she did. You know, I don't know if you've had this experience, but I find myself over the last few years, and especially the last few months, just learning more about what Anne did. And you're like, she did that too? You know, as a breast cancer survivor, when she sees a disease killing millions of people, not getting the funding or attention that it needed, because it was, of course, primarily affecting women, she goes out and co-founds the National Breast Cancer Coalition, becomes president of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition. Her work to raise awareness, to fund intervention, prevention, funding for research, no doubt has saved so many lives. I appreciate, especially in this beautiful church, Anne was always the champion of the marginalized. When Anne directed Boston's Emergency Shelter Commission, she spearheaded the first ever point-in-time census. This is about talking to individuals around the city because she knew, so quintessential Anne, if you want to know about an issue, you reach out and you talk to every single person who's experiencing it. That's what she did, and it went on to become a national model, something the federal government adopted as a tool for responding to homelessness. Now, of course, Massachusetts and Anne Maguire, these things were so, right, interlinked. It's kind of ironic. I'm coming in from Worcester this morning, our state, Massachusetts Democratic State Convention. Anne Maguire comes out of Worcester, Mass., the heart of the Commonwealth. She, of course, goes on to graduate from Bridgewater State and Boston University. We know her life's work took her from the neighborhoods of Boston to the shores of the Outer Cape, to Marblehead and everywhere in between. Always with a deep conviction and a tenacious spirit. She was always driven to change the world. And to change the world importantly, and I think at the end of the program there's that wonderful Margaret Mead quote, changing the world from right where she was at. And the power of that. Never ceasing to lose the opportunity to do it right from where she was at, with acts of love, compassion, courage, remarkable courage. When I think about those years and what it must have been like to do what she did. Helping one person, knocking on one door, changing one heart, forging one coalition, until before you know it, marriage equality is sweeping the nation. Breast cancer survival rates have doubled. Health equity is a priority across government and hospitals. Women and LGBTQ plus people are in positions of leadership everywhere. Anne made the world a better, more loving, more supportive, inclusive place for everyone. She did it with joy, love, and humanity. I know the power of Anne's impact just through my tiny slice of experience and interaction with Anne. She was a friend, an inspiration, and someone who made it possible for me to be out in the workplace, in life, to later run for office, to love, and to lead. I know we'll all miss her deeply, and it's a space impossible to fill. It's also a responsibility to try. We all know the freedoms and rights that are under attack in our country. Anne gave us the example, the heart, the courage to continue her work to defend and fight for our freedoms and create a more just and equitable world. She is our inspiration as we celebrate her today. I think that every day that we get up, we should think about Anne and be renewed and resolved to do the work, to assert our humanity, to fight for humanity. Anne's with us in spirit always, encouraging us to keep going. You know, I'll end with this story. Here we are, June 1st, the first day of Pride in Massachusetts, an auspicious day. And I think back about a year ago, which might have been one of the last times I saw Anne. We were going to do that parade, and it was going to be my first parade as governor. And of course, I was the first lesbian to get elected in the country. It's kind of a great, feeling and day. It's going to be a great parade. And there's no one who I wanted more as part of that experience than Anne Maguire. We all know Anne was struggling. She fought really hard. And it was really hard for her, and thank you to Harriet and your friends who worked to make sure that just down the way, just a year ago, Anne climbed up on that duck boat at the start of the parade. We gave her a ridiculous hat, gay pride hat, Mickey Mouse ears. You may have seen a picture. And as we went around the route, she was beaming. I think she had a really great time taking it in. And being so humble and self-effacing, I don't think she would begin to understand that the joy, the celebration in the streets, that was something that she helped make possible and deliver. I don't know if she ever took that in, probably not. She enjoyed it, but I just want to acknowledge that. And what a gift it was for me and for those of us who were marching and riding along with her and saw her that day to take in that beautiful, beautiful moment. We have a lot of titles in Massachusetts. We have title town. Sports titles, champions, banners. Hopefully one's coming soon with the Celtics. I went to the women's pro hockey game the other day. That was awesome. Go women's sports. Everyone, it turns out, is watching women's sports. And we put those champions on our duck boats. Boston, Massachusetts could not have a champion greater than Anne Maguire. At the end of the parade, we finished the route, and I was with the LG, we started walking up Beacon Street, past the State House, because we wanted to get a picture right there at the gates. And thankfully, I think thanks to Harriet and Caitlin, Anne was just sitting right across the street on that granite bench. I remember there's a picture of us. I look like hell, I'm sweaty. I'm wearing my vote shirt, my vote pride shirt. And there's Anne, and we kind of have an arm around each other, and she's looking up at the State House, and I'm looking up at the State House with her. And she's still wearing that ridiculous hat, which she really rocked. And she's smiling. I'm glad that's my last image of Anne in person. Because to me, it speaks to the need to celebrate and reflect on the good and the good that has been done. And also to think about and affirm the good work that there's still left to do. I hope I can live and will endeavor and strive to live up to Anne's expectation of me every day. And I welcome and will sit back and enjoy the rest of today and all the stories about this life-changing, game-changing, special, special person, Anne Maguire. Thank you.
When my husband, Jim, who's making sure I do this right behind me right now, met a man named Aaron Fierstein, who, when his mill burned down in Lawrence, with incredible generosity, paid out of his own pocket the employees who would otherwise have been unemployed. And Jim, who grew up in that area, when he met the man I called Reb Fierstein, he said, you know, I know in your religion there are no saints, but in mine you would be one. Well, I thought of that recently. If we in the LGBT community had decided to get ourselves a tax exemption by proclaiming ourselves to be a religion, this would be a canonization today, not a memorial service. We would be, I guess, paying tribute to St. Anne of the island of Lesbos. I am particularly grateful to Anne. I met her when I began my political career in 1971. I will tell you, it is a political career that would have been short-circuited had it not been for Anne's influence. And I'm not the only one who will tell you that. But we began work in 1971. I was a candidate for the state legislature later in that year. 72 this is, I take it back. We were working on anti-discrimination legislation. And that was not the most popular position at the time. And it was hard for me to find allies who shared my view that being idealistic did not mean that you spurned being pragmatic, but that you had a moral obligation to be pragmatic, because if you weren't, your ideals didn't do anything. But we say idealism without pragmatism. I'm going to quote Lyndon Johnson, who said that helping certain people was like wetting yourself in a dark suit. Nobody noticed, you just got a warm feeling down your leg. But Anne was instantly to me someone who recognized that fact. She was an extraordinarily skillful politician. Let me say in words that my former colleague in government, former Mayor Ray Flynn, who's joined us today with his son, City Councilor Eddie, would understand, she would have been referred to in the State House as a pretty cute pal. She knew how to operate, but she also did that in the service of a set of ideals. And as I said, I did not find a lot of people who shared that. Anne understood that working as hard as you could within the existing balance of forces was not incompatible with trying to change that balance. You could be trying to take advantage of what leverage you had, while at the same time increasing the leverage that you could get. And in that regard, I borrowed from religion. Let me borrow now, I think correctly, but it's not my strong point, from popular music. I think Anne was what we would call a crossover artist. That is someone who begins by appealing and drawing strength from a particular culture and community, but is so talented that she breaks that limitation and becomes widely admired and accepted by the broader community. I mentioned Ray Flynn. Under Ray and his successor, Tom Menino, Anne continued her extraordinary work that the governor illustrated on behalf of fair treatment for people despite their sexual orientation and gender identity, but she also extended her good works to the broader community. She was a breakthrough in that she became a proud, out lesbian who was respected not just for her advocacy of our interests particularly, but of the general welfare, and highly regarded for that. Anne was a great resistor of limitations. Of course, she started out by refusing to be limited as a lesbian, as a woman, both of which were very heavy shackles on your efforts to get involved politically at the time. She broke out some other taboo. She defied some other oppositions people had. For example, Anne demonstrated a very important point. You can be tough without being abrasive. That's when I have to work on myself. And the result was extraordinary. I'm grateful to her for another very personal part of my life. I mentioned Jim. People here should understand that the life of a political spouse can be a trial sometimes. You are asked to do a lot of things that nobody really should want to do. I'll tell you a lie that a lot of politicians tell. Oh, I love campaigning. Anyone who is himself the candidate for office or herself and tells you she likes campaigning is either a liar or a sociopath. There is nothing remotely fun about that activity. And it is even less so for the poor spouse who gets dragged into it. And so over the years of Jim and I being together, our 12th wedding anniversary approaches, I would ask him to accompany me to events that, to put it mildly, he would not have volunteered to attend. But there was an exception to when I felt I was putting on him a burden. And that's when we got to go to dinner with Anne. Nobody could be in Anne's company and not enjoy it. When Franklin Roosevelt nominated Al Smith for president in 1928, he called him the happy warrior. Anne was a happy warrior. She was an unending fighter for fairness, first for our own community, but for the broader community as well. But that did not, in her mind, give her a license to be grumpy to individuals. She wanted to show that you could believe in treating all of humanity well without mistreating individuals. So I obviously am sorry to be here at the occasion when we mourn the passing of this extraordinary woman and the extraordinary life she lived. But I'm nourished by my pride in having been at her side and having been the beneficiary of her talent and goodwill and charm in the service of the voter cause.
If you know this one, feel free to sing along with us. There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all.
We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need.
We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. Oh, send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stones to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. Sing it with us. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. Oh, when you're down and out, there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. Well, let us realize that change can only come when we stand together as one. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. We are the world, better day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. It's true. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me.
In Blackwood Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, let it go.
Anne was a light in the darkness in so many ways for so many people over so many years. She was that for me, and I was honored to call her my friend for over 40 years. To paraphrase George Bernard Shaw, some people see things as they are and ask why. Anne dreamt of things that never were and said, why not? In the late 1970s, Boston was not the comfortable, welcoming place that it is today for the gay community. Some of us feared rightly that we would lose our families, our employment, for those who were parents, our children, if the world knew who we really were. Anne took a bar deep in the downtown financial district, named it Somewhere, and made it a home for people who felt, in one way or another, that they did not have a home. She created a community, and she welcomed all of us into it. She hosted birthday parties and graduation events, and she stayed open on holidays, not because she did not have any place else to go, but because she knew that some of her customers did not. She knew that they were not welcome at their own family's celebrations, or that they would need a safe place to come after spending time with their families living a lie. I was 20-something when I met Anne, about to start law school, and I did wonder in those early years whether being gay would prevent me from having the life I dreamed of, the career I dreamed of. I did not know it when I first met Anne, but she was already lobbying for the gay rights bill at the State House, in the hope that those who came after us would not have that worry. Anne was a key leader in the lobbying efforts in those early days, patiently building a coalition of support. As Congressman Frank said, it was not easy or comfortable to be the face of gay rights in the State House in the 1970s and the early 1980s, but Anne did it with pride and grace. If she was ever embarrassed or ashamed about who she was, I never saw it in all of the years that I knew her. After Somewhere, Anne had a remarkable career in public service in the city of Boston. It is not surprising that one of her most significant roles was expanding services to the homeless when she served as the city's chief of human services. Anne saw that the enormous needs of those who had no fixed address was largely hidden from public view. So she created a team to conduct a census every year of how many people were actually living on our streets, to make the scope of that crisis more real to the community. An idea, as you heard, that has now become the model for cities across the country. It is a testament to Anne's judgment and her extraordinary organizational skills that over time, candidates for public office sought her out for her support and for her advice. If she believed in them and what they stood for, she signed on and helped several wise and talented candidates for federal and state offices, including our current governor, to reach the positions they desired. We all know that Anne had lists of incredible professional accomplishments throughout her life, but she also did so many things that very few people saw. She not only worked for the people of the city in her full-time jobs, but she volunteered for more things in the hours she had left. Anne was always willing to take the overnight shift at Rosie's place when they needed help, even though she knew it meant that she would finish her workday, stay up all night, and then go back to work the next day. Now, those of us who knew and loved Anne know how much of a marshmallow she was inside. But she certainly knew how to be tough when she needed to be, and she was busy. So I am sure sometimes she could sound gruff. When Rosie's place needed Anne to work an overnight, some of the volunteers were afraid to call her. In fact, they drew straws to see who had to do it. Fortunately, one of them, Harriet Gordon, was willing to make that call. And of course, Anne only said, "What do you need?" And then said, "I'll be there," and hung up. In time, that call led to a nearly 40-year-long relationship between Anne and Harriet. Harriet and my partner, Peg, had themselves been friends for years, and over time, both Anne and I found ourselves with the gift of children and grandchildren, one of the greatest joys in both of our lives, and one we could not have even imagined when we first met. Anne was a visionary throughout her entire life, a human rights advocate, a tireless public servant, a political strategist and campaign advisor for candidates she believed in, and she was a dear and loyal friend. She made the world a better place for hundreds, if not thousands of people, including many of us gathered here to honor her today. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "Fight for what you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." That was Anne. She was always a connector. She connected people she thought could help each other, whether it was individuals, groups, or issues, building a legacy of advocacy that lives on. Anne gave so much of herself to the world, and many of us count ourselves lucky to have known her and to have had her as part of our lives for so many years. I know that Anne felt an enormous amount of gratitude for the life that she was blessed to lead. She felt that she was the lucky one. As Harriet said in Anne's last days, the world needs more Anne Maguires, not fewer of them. May it be so.
Hi. I first met Anne in 1990. She was at the head of a table at an initial board meeting for the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition. And I have to admit, I was more than a little bit afraid of her. I had already seen the look. Fortunately not directed at me, but I immediately knew I never wanted to disappoint this woman. At that time, there was a little attention to or funding for breast cancer, and it was clear that mammography was not enough. I was in practice with Susan Love, who returned from a book tour with this idea about forming a coalition of women's health and breast cancer organizations to all get together and fight for breast cancer funding. And Susan knew just the woman to help get it done in Massachusetts and nationally. Anne Maguire, who was involved in the Women's Community Cancer Project and played cards with Susan's wife, Helen. The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition was quickly pulled together by Anne, who became its first president. She was also a founding board member of the National Breast Cancer Coalition. As I started to work with Anne, I realized why she was the perfect choice to help lead this effort. Anne was determined, pragmatic, and a brilliant strategist, whether solving neighborhood problems, advancing legislation, winning campaigns, or playing cards. She used grassroots organization and outreach to grow the coalition numbers and used this clout along with allies in the state Senate and House to advance our objectives. Through meetings, rallies, marches, fundraisers, letter writing campaigns, and calls to legislators, funding for breast cancer research was increased nationally and in Massachusetts through innovative programs with breast cancer advocates having a seat at the table. Anne knew it wasn't enough to be in the room when it happened. You had to be at the table helping to make those decisions. Studies showed that Cape and Newton had higher rates of breast cancer. Could it be environmental, or is it something else? Anne turned to an environmental scientist in her card-playing group who began designing a broad spectrum of studies and approaches to help address this. But getting environmental research funded back then was nearly impossible. Anne was very convincing, though. Whatever the outcome of the research was going to show, it was important to get the answers. An RFP came out from the state, Silent Spring Institute was born, competed for the RFP, and won its funding. When Anne and Harriet retired to the Cape, moved to Provincetown, Anne became involved with an organization that particularly called to her, HOW, Helping Our Women. This nonprofit worked out of a small, rented, not easily accessible space, helping women with acute and chronic illnesses get rides to healthcare appointments, access services, pay their electric bills, get grocery gift cards, and meet many essential needs. So many women on the Outer Cape have seasonal jobs and live paycheck to paycheck. Severe illness was devastating financially in addition to physically. Anne became a board member, working on fundraising and helped pave the way for improving access and services. Howe was able to purchase their own accessible office space there in Provincetown with a small food pantry and offices to meet women and help them with their needs. Over time, Howe continued to grow, spread along the Outer Cape, and has now purchased additional office space in Eastham. And on July 9th, the Anne Maguire Women's Wellness Center will have its grand opening. Please go to Howe's website, sign up to attend, and come and join us for this wonderful celebration of her legacy. But Anne also liked to have fun. Although I learned quickly to avoid playing poker with her, I had these great memories of Anne at the helm of the Annie M as we pulled lobster pots in the Provincetown harbor. Anne didn't eat lobster, but she loved the fun of all of us going out together and doing this. She had a license for 10 pots, and each spring we'd go out and we'd put out the 10 pots, and then over every couple of weeks we'd lose a pot or two until we finished the season with only a few pots. Next season we'd start out with 10 again. Of course, Anne was replacing all of these. But Anne liked to repeatedly remind us of our infamous year when we lost the lobster pot immediately upon throwing it out in the spring, as the line had not been attached securely to the pot. Clearly the crew's responsibility, an all-time record time of loss for us. They were the most expensive lobsters ever. To make a long story short, a phrase Anne used often and is certainly appropriate here, Anne was a most amazing woman, leader, mentor, advisor, and friend. She touched so many lives in countless ways. The world is a much better place because of her. I love her and miss her dearly. Let's go out there, follow her example, and make her proud. Thank you.
Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when you come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear those soft you tread above me, and all my dreams will warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me, and I shall hear those soft you tread above me, and all my dreams will warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Know that you are loved. Anne would often say this to me when we said goodbye. She'd slow me down, look deeply into my eyes, and say, know that you are loved. I carry that with me. The first time I met her, I had just finished co-chairing a human rights campaign dinner in Boston. I was packing up to go. The ballroom was almost empty, and there she stood at the bottom of the stairs to the stage. I just wanted to say thank you, she said. Again, that pause, those eyes. It wasn't any old thank you, but an Anne Maguire thank you, and she meant it. Many of you here in this church have heard these same words of gratitude from Anne. She was a grateful friend who appreciated every one of us, and she never hesitated to say it. Know that you are loved. As she worked to make the world a better place, she had a way of bringing us into the fold. Whether raising funds for the Children's West End Racing Club in Provincetown, asking for contributions to the food pantry at Helping Our Women, rolling quarters with Michael Ford that had been contributed to the dog park, or holding a sign for a political candidate, many of whom are in this room right now. She kept us busy. She asked, and of course we said yes. Who could say no to Anne Maguire? Well, all right then, she'd say with a little Irish glimmer in her eye. Even though she thanked us again and again, Anne is the one who deserved our thanks. Her life was about making a difference and about building community, and we were grateful to be part of hers. Know that you are loved. Anne was born to Esther and Joseph Maguire in Worcester, 1943. She adored her parents, felt supported by their quiet affirmation of who she was, and was especially close to her brother Joe, who went on to become a dean and a beloved mentor at Holy Cross University. Some of you here had the good fortune of knowing Joe. There must have been something in their genes or the way their parents raised them, because both Joe and Anne Maguire were legendary. Quiet, compassionate, get-it-done kind of people, each with a sense of purpose and a very strong moral compass. Everyone knew them, and those who didn't know them wished they did. I heard about Anne Maguire long before she became my friend. Of course, many of us heard about Anne when she opened the bar that's been referenced a number of times today, the lesbian gathering space in Boston in the 70s, and she named it Somewhere. I only recently learned that she named it after the song, the beautiful song from West Side Story. There's a place for us. Somewhere, a place for us. Anne created that place, that somewhere, some 5 decades ago, and she pushed for safe spaces and a safe, just world for queer people ever since then. Know that you are loved. Some of us called Anne the mayor of Provincetown. When she turned 65, even the folks at the bank and the post office wore pins that read, "Happy birthday, Anne." Even the Hat Sisters came to celebrate Anne's birthday with the mayor and so many others, Barney Frank among them. And though she and Harriet lived in Boston and in Marblehead, her heart was in Provincetown. Actually, in many, many different places in Provincetown, because Harriet had a fondness for moving. Does that bother you, Anne, we'd say? Apparently they had a deal. Please, she'd say with a sly look, I get world peace, Harriet gets everything else. What more can you say about Anne Maguire? Anne was a community builder. When they lived at 79 Commercial Street, her office was in the front window, where she'd beckon people to come in for a chat. The grandkids were often nearby playing on her computer, much to her chagrin. So many people turned to Anne for advice, and she loved to give it. She had that special quality that called people to her. Many of us asked her to administer our marriage vows, a responsibility she took to heart with great love and great respect. And Anne knew how to make a difference. She also knew what she loved: Dunkin' Donuts, playing poker, sitting with friends at the dining room table, ketchup, bingo, politics, and waving to the crowd during the carnival parade. Of course, she'd say, "Well, hello there," to any cat or dog that crossed her path. But what mattered most to Anne was family. Jen and Steve, Allison and Ed, Anne loved you deeply. And never was she so proud as when she told us stories of her beautiful grandchildren. Ben, Lizzie, named Elizabeth Ann after Anne, Jack, and Julia. Just weeks before her passing, she told us proudly that she beat her boy Ben in backgammon. I don't know if it was true, but if so, it's no small feat. Know that you are loved. Anne met her beloved Harriet, as you heard today, some 40 years ago, back when they were both volunteering for Rosie's Place. Now, we didn't compare notes on what we were going to say today, so this is amusing. Anne was always willing to volunteer for an overnight shift. And even though we know Anne was a pussycat, she sometimes seemed scary to those who didn't know her well. The staff at Rosie's Place was afraid to call her. I can only imagine Harriet when she got the short straw and had to make the call. "Give me that phone," she would have said. And thus, over time, a beautiful love affair was born. Anne loved Harriet with all her heart. She loved telling stories of their time together. "Anne, you've told them that story before," Harry would say. Anne would stop and give Harriet the look. Nonetheless, we urged her to tell us that story again because we could never hear them often enough. And never did she seem to glow as she did when she sat beside her Harry in a true Irish pub in Doolin, Ireland, an Irish woman through and through, surrounded by her love and the Emerald Isle. And so now we say goodbye to Anne, our Annie M., with sadness in our hearts, but also with huge gratitude for who she was to each one of us. May she be at peace as she builds her community among the stars. And we just wanted to say thank you. Please join me in saying, know that you are loved. Know that you are loved. Thank you.
There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air wait for us somewhere.
There's a time for us, someday a time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving. Somewhere. There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air, wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us, someday a time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care. Someday,
I invite you to stand now as you're willing and able for the closing words. An ancient Irish pagan blessing. May the blessing of light be with you always. Light without and light within, may the sun shine upon you and warm your heart until it glows like a great fire, so that others may feel the warmth of it. And may the light of your eyes shine like two candlelights in a window at night, bidding the wanderer to come in out of the dark and the cold. And may the blessings of the rain be upon you, the sweet and tender rain. May it fall upon your spirit, and when flowers spring up and fragrance fills the air. And may the blessings of the great rain wash you clean and fair, and may the storms always leave you stronger and more beautiful. And when the rains are over, may there be clear pools of water made beautiful by the radiance of your light, as when a star shines beautiful in the night, pointing the way for us all. Farewell, Anne. The world is better for your having lived. We are better for having known you. We loved you living. We love you now. Rest now in peace and in the love we bear you. Amen. And now, you know what to do.
I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, I am what I am. Bang my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's giving love in a family dose. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up everybody and sing. Sing it to me. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up everybody and sing.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will
Be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children.
We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
When you're down and out, the message no home at all.
But if you just believe, there's no way we can fall.
Well, let's realize
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.